If I were to ask you the best time of day, what would you say? And more importantly, why that time? Last week, I asked my Instagram followers their answers to this question. The responses ranged from as early as 1 a.m. to as late as 10 p.m., which was the most common answer. After that, it was a tie between 8 a.m., a time to get the day started right, and 4 p.m., which is viewed as more of a chill time as the working part of the day turns to the past. One person boldly answered with you, that person, of course, being my brother. But while this question is subjective, I do feel that 1 hour was overlooked, 3 in the morning, a time of day truthfully unlike any other. Allow me to tell you why I think that 3 a.m. is the best hour of the day. What does 3 a.m. have that other hours just don't? The main offering? A silent world. Unless you're in New York City, the planet truly feels like it is sleeping. Barely any cars, no people, just you in the night sky. You feel like the only person in the world, which is such a unique sensation. I do believe that everybody deserves the opportunity to experience a main character moment at this time of day. Also, the nighttime aesthetic as a whole is just top tier, no debate. The moon shining bright, stars peeking through the city sky to overcome all the light pollution, fluorescent lights adding a splash of color to the environment, and a blanket of darkness over everything else. I remember driving an hour last winter to play indoor soccer, and there was always this store with a neon red sign on it. It was literally just some appliance store, and the sign didn't even say anything important, but it always attracted me with some sort of mesmerizing beauty, sticking out on the pitch black street. At this time, you get to notice what you want because everything is hidden by the night. The daytime light just doesn't provide the same kind of vibe in my opinion. On a side note, these are also the Batman hours, so perfect time to fight crime, or honestly, to commit it. It works both ways, so go ahead and do either. Let me tell you why the other dead hours of the night simply aren't as good as 3 a.m., starting with midnight. School killed midnight for me, or at least made it mediocre. It started with the assignments due at 11:59 p.m. That's enough to make me despise the whole hour. And maybe that's unfair to midnight, after all, it is 11 p.m.'s fault. But the stress that washes away after doing those assignments tends to leave me tired and not in a celebratory or happy mood whatsoever. And in college, midnight kind of just feels like 9 p.m. anyways. When I was younger and stayed up until midnight, I liked to believe that I had achieved something. Now midnight just signifies the next day. Big deal. There are also things still going on at midnight, probably still have to get ready for bed, you get it. I find 1 a.m. to be kind of frustrating because I'm normally not happy if I'm up that late. I don't believe that there honestly is a point of being up at 1 a.m. It's hard to describe, but there's a disconnect between earlier in the night and the full-on late night that takes place here. It's almost like a lack of commitment has yet been determined to be up that late, and time is kind of just passing by at this point. 2 a.m. is cool, you've committed to the bit of staying up this late, the world has slowed down, and you can also still sleep 8 hours and get up at 10. Great time. No hate, I just don't think it hits the same as 3 a.m. By 4 a.m., the world is already starting to move again, as the psychopath morning runners are preparing to hit the streets and get their cardio in. I don't like that. Also, no healthy amount of sleep gets me up before the absolute latest moment in the morning, if I sleep at 4. I've either had the best night of my life, which is not likely, or absolutely wasted a night and set myself up for a full day of exhaustion. It's hard to bounce back during the day hours after staying up until 4 a.m. I would also like to take this time to quickly clarify that my use of 3 a.m. as the best hour of the day is more so representative of my belief that 2:30 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. is the actual prime time. However, the Unbridled Beauty of 2:30 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. wasn't quite right for a YouTube title, nor did it work for a thumbnail. Before we get into the happenings of 3 a.m., let's look at the argument mathematically real quick. How many 3 a.m.s can you healthily experience in a week? Not many. Special things are born from rarity. The vast majority of the time, even I, a massive 3 a.m. propagandist, am asleep at this time. Being awake at that time every day does not fit my schedule of being a morning person, as I generally dislike wasting the first half of a 24-hour day. With classes or a job, this bodes even worse for the upcoming day. So Sunday through Thursday, experiencing 3 a.m. is a poor decision. Even Friday and Saturday can have their own unique reasons to avoid it. As a result, being up at 3 a.m. is a conscious choice. It's really hard to let so much time pass by that it just pops up unexpectedly. I'm sure you've heard someone in your life before say, "Oh my gosh, it's already sometime or another," or "it's getting late," or even the phrase, "time flies when you're having fun." This is because other times of day are not purposeful like 3 a.m. is. I'll admit that time is a social construct, in general, but 3 a.m. is not. 3 a.m. is as real as the energy and matter sprawling the universe, simply put. So what goes on at 3 a.m. anyways? What joy does it bring? I'm not gonna lie, not a ton, typically. As with every hour of the day, there's always the excellent option of doom scrolling on Instagram or TikTok. Watching a movie takes too long unless it was started a long time ago. YouTube and playing video games are my favorite activities if I'm alone. They just don't have consequences and there's no reason to feel any negative type of way about it. They're a peaceful way to enjoy the late night. There's also the unparalleled burst of motivation that comes every once in a while at this time. A sudden need to change anything and everything about your life because you are so far from where you want to be. This can lead to push-ups, sit-ups, academic weaponry, or a creative decision to pick up an old hobby. Unfortunately, this is almost guaranteed to be gone by the next morning, so you are more than likely to not follow through on almost anything schemed up before going to sleep. Still, it is fun to lock in and imagine your best self for a short period of time. Another thing I absolutely love is going for a drive. I can't say enough about driving at this time, but night drives in general are honestly one of the best creations of all time. Just trust me, there's little better than a drive this late at night or early in the morning depending on how you look at it. If you're up at 3 a.m. with others, it can be absolute peak. I don't even need to describe the magic conversations that can take place here. They're either completely and utterly unhinged and worthless, or the deepest, most life-changing talks you'll ever have. I don't believe that there's an in-between of what takes place at this time of night. Finally, there's the ability to fall asleep whenever you want. In my experience, this time seems to carry a little energy boost that other times in the late night don't. Getting over the hump of midnight to 2 a.m. without falling asleep can be hard sometimes, but once I hit 3, I just feel like I'm all good again. So it's not like every waking second is spent trying to stay up, but once I want to go to sleep, it's as easy as closing my eyes and I'm out for the count. Now, there is also another side to 3 a.m., which I see as the perfect, sad, and existential crisis time. There's so much introspection that just seems to naturally come with it. If you ever want to consider life, just stay up until 3 a.m. and really sit with yourself. Regrets, wishes, and all of life's problems will come in, but this isn't inherently a bad thing. There have been a few times where I'll just choose to binge on sad content or listen to sad music because sometimes that's honestly what I need. It's almost like an emotional cleanse where I can reset myself and get all the negative feelings out because, like the aforementioned motivation boost, chances are they'll disappear by the time I wake up the next morning. When the world is silent, everything really slows down and every distraction melts away, leaving nothing but our thoughts. It can be really beautiful, an intricate little moment in the universe seen and experienced by nobody else. Yeah, it might suck a bit in the moment if it comes up unexpectedly, but some serious contemplation about life every once in a while doesn't actually hurt. So hopefully by now you can see why I think that 3 a.m. is the best hour of the day. The nighttime peace and everything that it brings is simply unmatched. If you disagree completely and ignore 3 a.m. by always sleeping through it, that's your loss. But if you do manage to make it to the magical hour, allow yourself to fully enjoy it. And who knows, maybe I'll be up enjoying it with you.